In our modern world, gods and goddesses are often treated as stories, symbols, or psychological metaphors. But in the ancient world and in the deeper metaphysical current beneath history, they are far more than characters in myth. They are archetypal intelligences, living frequencies of consciousness that shape the inner and outer architecture of reality. To work with a god or goddess isn't simply an act of imagination or devotion. It is an act of alignment with a field of awareness that is larger than the self, but intimately accessible through it. It is, in truth, a form of consciousness tuning. Gods and goddesses as archetypal fields. Whether it's the god of war or the goddess of love, these beings represent recurring energetic patterns, not just mythic personalities, but intelligent forces that operate both cosmically and psychologically. Mars/Aries embodies the aggressive impulse, the power to act, defend, sever, and conquer. Aphrodite/Venus embodies attraction, harmony, eros, and aesthetic coherence. Zeus or Odin represents sovereignty, thunderous order, and the law of divine authority. Isis or Demeter carries the code of regeneration, divine motherhood, and cyclical life-death-life energy. These are not just archetypes within our minds, they are field structures, intelligences that can be felt, engaged, and even embodied. Why are these forces humanized? The psyche craves relationship. It relates best to the unseen through form. That's why these archetypal forces were translated into human-like deities. Gods with faces, personalities, moods, and mythic stories. This wasn't to reduce their vastness, it was to make them relational. When the abstract becomes embodied in story, ritual, or icon, it becomes tangible, and therefore transformative. We can't easily engage with the principle of generative destruction, but we can engage with Shiva or Kali. When the divine becomes human. In many ancient civilizations, these archetypal forces didn't just stay in myth, they descended into form. Gods and goddesses became embodied in pharaohs, priestesses, oracles, avatars, and rulers. In Egypt, the pharaoh was considered the living Horus and became Osiris in death. In Mesopotamia, kings enacted the death and rebirth of the god Dumuzi to stabilize cosmic order. In India, avatars like Krishna and Rama were understood as incarnations of Vishnu, walking in human form. In Greece, priestesses of Apollo at Delphi became vessels for divine speech. These weren't just roles, they were living technologies of embodiment, ways to anchor divine intelligence in the body, in time, and in place. Working with a god or goddess today. When you work with a god or goddess, through ritual, devotion, visualization, creativity, or spiritual practice, you are not calling on a fictional being. You are entering a coherent field of consciousness that has been accessed by countless others throughout history. This isn't fantasy. It's a form of energetic resonance. You are attuning your mind-body field to that specific frequency of awareness. Working with Apollo may bring clarity, truth, and solar will. Working with Hecate may open gateways between the seen and unseen. Working with Thoth may deepen your capacity for language, magic, and insight. Working with Brigid may activate creative fire and sacred healing. You don't just connect with them, you begin to host their intelligence in your field. Embodiment is localization. When a god or goddess becomes embodied, either in ancient rites or in personal practice, it means that a vast archetypal pattern has localized into form. It is a condensation of cosmic pattern into human experience. This doesn't make it less divine, it makes it actionable. It bridges the invisible and the visible, allowing the pattern to express itself through you. The return of sacred embodiment. We are remembering again that divinity doesn't live only in temples or texts. It lives in the pattern, and patterns live in people. The gods and goddesses are not dead or distant. They are field intelligences, waiting to be acknowledged, aligned with, and expressed. To work with them is to remember that you too are an archetypal vessel, capable of hosting wisdom, power, love, and transformation. When the divine walks, it walks in us.